Hey, it's 6 o'clock. We're about ready to get started. Will our panelists come forth? Will our Huh? Yeah, because we can be standing right here. Yeah, right here. Right here. We want the people in the hot seat.
You're not excessive. He was very excessive. He was very bothersome.
Hey man, you the man behind the camera. How did you do it, man?
Mike. We've got one more panelist to come, and I think he went to the wrong building, so we're trying to allow him time to get here. Okay, we'll start tonight. I'll let my brother Al start off.
All right, good evening. First of all, I do want to thank everybody who took the time out to come out for this very important meeting, gathering. The topic tonight is a very difficult one. It is one that I don't know if anybody knows the answer for, but I know we got to do something, because children are being hurt, killed, a lot of lives are being destroyed, and I just believe, and we just believe, that we can do something about it if we work together. And so, I know I got a lot of calls. I've been in politics now for 19 years, and I never really had that many people to call me in a small amount of time about talking about the issues. And as a matter of fact, my wife, co-worker, lady Sheena right here was one of them who was telling me about that she was getting a lot of people to call her, and she called my wife and I had talked to me about it, and she was saying, well, somebody needs to do something to kind of get people together. And so I reached out to my sister Peaches on City Council, Jaquez on City Council. They know they got a lot of friends, and they got a network out there. They can get people together. And I was just in the hopes that we could get enough people together and start talking about the issue, sharing ideas, and doing it in a way where we're not here to point fingers at who's not doing what and who should be doing it. Let's try to keep it positive, more about what we can do together to address the issue. And I just believe that we can. We all have had some experience. I know I have in working with community associations and stuff like that. Not just trying to throw ideas out of what we should do, but I know working together, when communities come together, get organized, work with law enforcement, work with the agencies, work with each other, check on each other. I've seen it happen where we've been able to address crime and stop it in neighborhoods. I've seen it. And so, the idea is, what if we kind of did it across the whole city, the whole county? What if we just start talking to each other, start helping each other out? What if we just start sharing ideas? What if we just start meeting? What would happen? What could possibly happen? And so tonight will be our first effort to try to start pulling this thing together, start pulling people together, and start sharing ideas, and let's see where it goes.
Thank you. I want to first start off by saying I think you all should give each other a round of applause for showing up. I think it means a lot. They say rule number one in being successful in any adventure that you do is, number one, is showing up. And I think you all, by being here, even if you just want to come and listen tonight and not really being an active participant, I think by being here, you're showing that you care about our communities, you care about our kids, and you care about seeing Florence and the surrounding areas grow in a way that our kids are not being killed or being hurt by gun violence, right? So thank you all for being here. But I was kind of piggybacking, of course, off of what my brother Al said. It's more importantly, oftentimes my auntie here, I call her my auntie, Miss Lithonia Barnes, she called me first thing in the morning as I'm always dropping my kids off to school. And we always talking about how can we help solve this gun problem here in Florence. And sometimes, if I don't know, I can even do a little Google search, so we can do this or that. But this issue is so deep that I'm gonna report to you today that I don't have all the solutions to the answer. That's why we all came together and thought that it was best to have the community come out. We want to hear what's your concerns, right? I think it's everyone knows it's a serious problem here in the area. It's a serious problem. It's a nationwide problem actually, but if I can have any confidence in anybody of getting this thing accomplished, I'm confident that the city of Florence and the surrounding areas can definitely do it. But it starts with each of us willing to do the right thing, willing to put one foot forward and another foot forward to continue to see the progress in this area. Again, I'm encouraging everyone tonight. Today we have some excellent panelists tonight. We have a public participation portion as well. If you want to come up, I know we might have some candidates in here. Let's try to keep it as narrowly tailored to the issue as we can, because at the end of the day, I'm here about the kids, right? I'm tired of seeing our kids being shot. I'm tired of seeing our kids, being caught with weapons. It's a very serious problem that we have. And I am very, very intrigued by you all being here. And again, let's keep the hostility out of it. It's a very, very hot topic. We're not purporting to take away anyone's guns. First, we have the authority to do such. But we're not trying to take away anyone's guns. But let's figure out what can we do as a community. I know you all have been thinking of things. I've been thinking of things, right? And hopefully we can all come together today at the end with a few action items on things we actually can accomplish. If we cannot do it, I'll be the first to tell you that's something that's outside of our jurisdiction. I see we got my brother Scotty Davis back there. He gonna definitely tell me that the city of Florence cannot do it. But again, if you have anything, any ideas, any solutions, any stories, please be willing to share those with us. Because I think that's how we move this ball forward and make sure that we're passing on a better world to the next generation than what we receive. So thank you. Oh, and now to my auntie.
Now we will have prayer, Pastor Brent.
Let us pray. Father, we come humbled and humbly unto thee this evening, so we thank you, God, for keeping us all day long. Thank you for these who have come tonight, God. We pray, God, tonight that we have come with the spirit of humility, that we have come to reason together, that we have come to mesh our minds together, to come to solutions for this community and the situation that's evolving, God. And we want to do what we can to curtail the activity of gun violence, of violence, period, in our communities, to make our environment safer, God. So we pray that every strategy, every concept, every idea that will go forth tonight will be for the safety of this community, for a better community abroad, and to just allow our youth to have hope for a brighter future. We love you and we thank you. Amen.
Amen. So let me. No, you all are going to have to see if they raise their hands. But we're going to start off by introducing our panelists, and we'll start here.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Michael G. I'm a concerned parent, concerned citizen.
My name is Bob Drulis. I'm the captain over the City of Florence Police Department's Investigative Unit and Narcotics Unit.
Darren Yarborough, Captain of Florence County Sheriff's Office, Investigation Division.
Parish Brown, pastor of Mount Roman Baptist Church.
George Mack, patrol captain of the City of Florence.
And we've got one other one, Twan. He's from the Nubian Brothers Barbershop and also a community. Is Twan back there? Yeah, come on up. So let us tell you, I will just give my spiel. What is self-healing in the community? It is a community that seeks after partnership of resources and a combination of variety of entities to build newness, to intentionally generate a mindset change that hereby improves the health, safety, and productivity of our communities. Partnership is the key. It is the key that unlocks the door. This effort will require lots of teamwork, where individual agendas are not welcome. Our agenda is a better community, period. Community first is our goal. Love thy neighbor as thyself is the goal. Respecting your community is the goal. Pride in the community is the goal. Change begins when we understand that we all play a part in our community. No more pointing the fingers, no more. We all play a part through our activity or our inactivity. These problems all started small, and we turned a deaf ear, and now we're here. These problems will continue to grow if we don't stop and regenerate. These are our communities, and we all must do our part for a solution. The church, our schools, businesses, elected officials, the police, community organizations, sororities and fraternities should all partner with the community to make it what it once was. It is time for the village to rise, shine, and give God the glory. A place where neighbors looked out for one another, where respect of our elders was an everyday practice, where when one member was in need, the others came to their rescue. It takes a village to raise a community, because a village raised us. A village raised us, and it is up to us to be that village for those who come behind us. Now, y'all, we got to get ready, because we need your input on this. I've got panelists here to actually answer some questions that we may, but this is about you and us coming together. So we want you to raise your hand, and we'll bring a mic. We hope that your remarks won't be past 1 or 2 minutes, and we don't have to come and take the mic from you. So be nice. Please respect each other's opinion. It's their opinion. It's theirs. So you don't have to live in it. It's theirs. And one person speak at a time. It is our plan to leave this place with an action item, with some. So we will later have some sign-up sheets where we're asking you to actually sign up, because we often come and we meet, and oh, what a wonderful time it is to meet, but we leave with nothing. We are asking that legs be put to this action that we need to take tonight. Okay? So as we begin, I'm going to just start off with a question, and some of you may have some questions. How I'm trying to say, should I say this? How did we get here? How did we get here? What has happened that we've lost a generation? Why is there no respect in our streets? Why do we point the finger when violence and crime is going on in our homes? Who want to start off? Or somebody else got another question? Okay. Yeah, please.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Harry Charles, and I think what happened was fear set in, and we got selfish. When fear set in, we began to focus on ourselves, and we lost the community. So we have to get past the fear, because God said He didn't give us a spirit of fear, but love and power and a sound mind. So each one of us need to have peace in our mind in order to not be selfish. Because if we have peace in our mind, our concerns will go out towards our neighbor. Because I was raised by a community, so I understand what it's like to get fussed by another parent and spanked by another parent. So what we have to do is just pick the ball up, dust ourselves off, get rid of the fear, and operate in faith. We just got to trust God through it all, no matter what we do, no matter how many degrees we have. We just got to trust God, and faith without works is dead. Amen.
But just before he gives that, he and his wife are here, and this is Al's student that called him. You heard Al, and so do you want to share that story? All right, is that okay, Mom? Okay, y'all share the story.
Okay, well, first of all,
Abbreviated story.
let me go back to 2019. My wife and I had just got married. 2019, we were on our way to our honeymoon. We got a call saying that our 19-year-old son was shot. Upon arriving to the hospital, we stayed there for a while, and they came back and said he was dead. 2019. 2020. fast forward. Our 14-year-old son, we were on our way to work, and yeah, our 14-year-old son. Our 14-year-old son, this incident happened on Martin Luther King's birthday. I was off, and I was in the process of taking my wife to work, and we were going to let our 14-year-old know that we were leaving the home, only to find him dead in his bed. And dialed 911, they told me to lay him on the floor, do chest compressions. I did all of that, help arrive, but by this time it was too late. So with that, I'm willing to become a mentor, to a full-time mentor, where things are available 5 days a week for our children. Because that's the only way we're going to get them back. We got to be consistent. Because if we are consistent, the society is going to be consistent with persuading them to make bad decisions. And before the meeting is over, I want to talk to our councilmen and councilwomen. And I brought with me a preliminary proposal on this mentoring program. Because I feel like I'm at fault. I dropped the ball myself. So with that, I'm willing to step up and become the legs that Sister Barnes was talking about. And I trust the Lord to carry it through. Because He didn't invite us all here to go back out to not do anything. So as a whole, collectively, we got to start somewhere. We got to start from what's within us. And God showed me mentoring programs. And that's what I'm here to do today. I want to find out what all I need to find out financial-wise. Like I said, I got a preliminary proposal, and I'll bring the final grant proposal with that. But mentoring programs is what I would like to get involved in 5 days a week.
Amen. Just so that you know, yes. So that you know, there are some people here that would love to be involved with it. We want you to let us know who you are. There will be a sheet up at the front, especially with our men. Women, we also want you to sign up, but please sign, because all we want to do is connect the dots so that we become stronger. Okay, somebody else had something to say.
Yeah, praise the Lord. My name is Chaplain Samuel Jordan. And I've been working volunteer at the county jail since 2002. And since that time, I've seen a lot of young people come and a lot of older people come. I was just out there a few days ago, just talking to some inmates, and also one of the chaplains also is here, is a chaplain over here, Tommy Cameron. And down through the years, I've seen a lot of young people coming in as a result of so many things that take place. And I believe most of it is that as parents, we have stopped. I know Sister Barnes mentioned the fact about village raising children. But I believe that's what basically has stopped. Our young people have got to the point where it's hard for mama and dad to basically take care of certain things. And they find themselves doing most of the things themselves. And I was a part of the, what we call the Chief of Police Coalition some years ago. And that was part of our plan, was to implement certain things in the schools, in the community, through the church. We was all divided into certain districts. And we did some of that as a result. But most of the things I tried to do was go to the jail and try to help the young people when they get there, how to help them once they get out. We have several places. I was out there just the other day, and 4 of the things they wanted to do was, where's the rehab? Once I get out, where do I go? Where do I go once I get out? And we do have a few rehab here in Florence. But I believe that's another issue, that we can help them once they get out. But them where they are. What are they going through? It's not easy once you get out of jail, basically, to go straight. Because so many people want so many things from you. And you can't get it because you don't have it. But I believe if we help them out, once they get out, I believe they won't be a return offender. Thank you.
I guess in this portion now, if you have any questions for the panelists, raise your hand. I'm coming to
Name Christopher McCray, citizen of Florence. Panelists, if you could, and maybe only 2 or 3 of you have this response, what are the current statistics for gun violence, and what are those demographics look like for Florence?
Chris, I don't have numbers, but what we can tell you is way more than what we would like for it to be. And demographically, it's all over. As an investigator with Florence County Sheriff's Office, we have responded to gun violence all over Florence County. It used to be at one time you could say it's only on this side of town, but I respond on the west side of town. So it's all over. It just depends upon what the situation is. You have gang gun violence, you have robbery gun violence. And I don't like to say gun violence because we don't have a gun violence problem. We have a violent people problem. My gun has never went off on my side. Never. I can take my gun and sit it on the table, it's not going to do anything. But when you have violent people using guns to commit violent crimes.
So, again, Bob Drullis, City of Florence. You know, again, speaking on the demographics, again, I wasn't prepared for that. Stand up. Sorry, I'm tall. I wasn't prepared for that question, so I apologize for that. What I can tell you is our victim demographic and our suspect demographic, for the most part, both parties are involved in some sort of criminal activity. The thought that, do we have random victimization here in Florence, in the city, in the county? We do. Let's be real. We do. It's very minimal. It's very minimal. Most of our violence comes from, and hopefully I don't step on toes when I say this, but it's bad people doing bad things against other bad people who are also doing bad things. So at the end of the day, if we can try to curtail the bad things, it makes sense that the gun violence is going to go down as well. Does that make sense? So with the city of Florence, you know, and I think I speak for Florence County as well when I say this. I don't mean to, but we basically kind of do the same things. We have also partnered with our federal law enforcement partners, the FBI, the ATF, the DEA, to try to bring the most violent people, you know, into the federal realm. How does that help, quote unquote help? You know, the sentencing guidelines, you know, can be a little more stringent than on the state side. You know, Solicitor Clemens is here, he can attest for that. And it has nothing to do with the work of our solicitors, because our solicitors are incredible. You know, they have a very daunting job. It's called what it is. They're basically covering 2 counties. They're covering Florence and Marion. You know, and how many of y'all are there? 9? 2 counties? Hats off to you. You know, so we bring in as many other entities as we can to try to promote the safest environment for our citizens. here recently, we've also, oh my Lord, it's the PDCIC, the PD Criminal Investigations Committee. We've enacted that with Sheriff TJ Joy. Basically what that is law enforcement agencies throughout the PD area get together, and it's pretty much an intelligence meeting. You know, you got stuff going over here, we got stuff going on over here, this stuff sounds the same, let's see if we can start working on it. Law enforcement in general, and I'm starting to get long-winded, anyone who knows me knows that happens, I apologize. Law enforcement in general is a very reactive profession. You know, we want to be proactive. We do. Proactivity also gets into people's lives, right? You know, that's basically what that is. So by our profession, we're very reactive. We react to the crimes. To find out where those crimes are being committed, we need partners in the community. We need people to speak out. We need you to watch the people who are doing the bad stuff. Not only watch, but you need to call us. People tend to think that they don't want to bother the police. They don't want to bother the sheriff's office. I promise you, I've sat in that car for 12 hours on a Sunday on Christmas and have not gotten a single call. That is the most boringest day in my entire life. Riding around the city of Florence for 12 hours, right? We want to do stuff. We want to help you. Please do not think that you are bothering us. It's what we get paid for. Please call us. Thank you.
Wow.
Before we move on, I do want to say one thing. We do have Solicitor Ed Clemens here. He is the chief, law enforcement officer for the entire county of Florence, as well as Marion. So to have him a part of this conversation is very important. So again, thank you for being here. We get a round of applause for Mr. Ed Clemens.
Before you go on, I just wanted to ask this question, because I get this all the time. Why can't you all control the community? Because y'all won't ask these questions, and y'all know y'all want to ask them. Why won't y'all patrol more? Can we talk to, because they expect, the community is looking for you all to patrol more than they are seeing. Can one of y'all answer that?
Can I first make this statement, please? I come to these meetings in Florence quite often. And when we leave, we usually leave empty-handed. Now, my understanding is we want to talk about gun violence. We want to find out how we can begin to curtail gun violence. I've not heard that addressed yet. We've been here 30 minutes at least. We need to get to the agenda and hear from you all. You call these people up, you have these conversations on the side, and you try and point fingers and say who did. Come on, family.
Yeah, we need to hear you.
We need to hear from you.
She want to say something.
We need to hear from you. It's essential that we hear. You're in the communities where the activity is taking place. They can't be there 24/7. None of us can be there 24/7. So tonight, I beg of us, before we leave here tonight, let's consider some solutions. I've heard a whole lot of problems. I heard one solution suggested. We've got to hear questions. We got to hear recommendations. We need suggestions. This is not a particular sect of Florence problem. It's socioeconomic, crossing lines socioeconomically, politically. This is affecting the community of Florence, the perception of Florence, and us who live, work, and thrive in Florence. We're all being affected. Someone's child, some parent lost 2 children in a matter of 2 years. Should that not alarm us? I guess not. If we're going to sit here and do the same thing we've been doing, instead of seeking some solutions, come on, I put together a plan for Pastor Barnes. I hope we get to share that. We need a real conversation. We need to have some real talk. Coming in here saying, well, I'm such and such and I did that. That's great, but we need to do something. She said the village needs to rise up. Not the politicians, not the police office, not the sheriff, this community, the village. the village that I know is capable of raising quality men and women. I'm one of them. Here's another one. There's another one. There's some more. We're capable of doing it. Here's the question. Are you willing to make the sacrifice? That's the question. We'll sit back and talk about it and, oh Lord, I can't believe such and such. Family, we've got to make a commitment. We've got to make a sacrifice. We are the persons who determine what our city looks like. Yes, you have that input, but you've got to determine in your heart and in your mind, are you really, really ready for that smoke? Are you ready for that smoke? Because it's going to take some work, and it's not going to happen overnight. This didn't happen in one season. This happened through a process of time. And we're going to have to unroot this thing through a process. But again, are you willing? Are you willing to make a sacrifice? Enough said.
My name is Sabrina Williams. I'm a parent of the community. And most of the problems that have been spoke about, they have been here and they have been implicated. But one thing I will say that I have seen from a parent standpoint that is different is that parents get punished for disciplining their children. Therefore, you spare the rod on these children and they become unruly. Me, as a parent, example, I had a child that was being unruly, right? She called the police. The police takes my child's side over a mother that's raising 3 kids, working hard. Do you know what these officers tell me? I have to let this disrespectful child come in my house, do whatever to me, and if I put her out, I go to jail. That's where the fear starts. So everything ties in together as a whole as to how this problem has come about. Because a parent, for one, that has several children are not going to sacrifice a house of 2 or 3 children for one bad apple. You tend to let them fall because you still have a tree of good children because they're different ages. So when we look at the problem, we have to start looking at the things that have been implemented into law that allows the things to pass. So that's my opinion as to why we are where we are. Because without discipline of these children, there's chaos. And that's why it's a lot of chaos, because you cannot discipline your children without the fear of going to jail.
Discipline your children. You know, popular thought says it may. If you pop your kid on the hand, if you pop them on the butt, if you hit them in the back of the head because they're smarting off, that is not against the law. If you beat your child and they have whip marks down their back and they're bleeding, that is against the law, right? Now, is there degrees from one side to the other? Yes, there is. You know, and we can take the rest of the night talking about about those degrees. Going back to your situation when you talk about putting your child out, you know, yes, that is in the law. If you have a child, you have to take care of that child. There are steps through DJJ and DSS.
But then again, you say those avenues are available, right? But there have been several parents in the communities that have fought for their kids before we have gotten here. And what have we got? We have gotten no assistance from the same officers that tell us they're going to protect and serve us. No, they allow these kids to come back in. And you say it's not against the law, right? Absolutely. But if a child goes to any school and make an allegation, that is an open investigation and their parent's life is turned upside down
is evidence, and if we go to the school and the child says, yes, Mama spanked me on my tail because I talked back to her, we're going to say, have a nice day, and we're going to turn around and go home. But I agree with you. I agree with you. There are a lot of obstacles. There are. And I think a solution, maybe a plan for a solution to that would be finding some sort of guideline, finding some sort of flow chart, there you quote, air quotes, to help individuals through that process when they have a child that's lost. Does that make sense?
So, no, it doesn't, but, I mean, it doesn't have to make sense to me, but, I mean, it didn't, but we can move on.
All right. It's a lot of, I promise I'm trying to get everybody.
Listen, my name is Sean Wiles. I grew up in this neighborhood long time. But there were 5 components that was in place when I was growing up. It was community, it was churches, it was recreation, it was a financial component put together, and then it was somebody sacrificing. We can look at them all day long and say, what are y'all going to do? But we need to look back at each other and say, what are we going to do?
That's right.
Churches, we got churches that are open, that can build a community center, a community-based outreach for our kids. We got people in here who's educators, who have training, that can do tutoring. Give these kids some experience. Take the time out to give them something that they can put on their resume. Simple as that. We got buildings that are open all the way around Florence that they need free recreational programs because a lot of families can't afford it. But we got a lot of athletes that's just standing out on the corner. We are the ones that need to start doing something in our communities. It just take one church. It just take one recreation center. It just take one program. It just take one doctor, one lawyer. Y'all got, I bet it's a whole bunch of leftover books from all the educators in this building that'll train a child, whether it be nursing assistant, whether it be CDL classes, whether it be whatever. It just take one program, one person to build it. So we can point out there that them, they trying to figure out the answers just like we are. But the component is already there. I knew when I was growing up it was.
First of all, to the brother whose son was killed, may Allah have mercy on his soul. 30,000. 30,000 is a number that I think we can reflect on. 30,000. We have to look at this situation as, and the brother who goes to the prison and visit the inmates, we'll talk about mass incarceration on another day. 30,000 is, I'm going back to this number, 30,000. $30,000 that the government will put into the system to house an inmate. 30,000. Let's reflect on that number, 30,000. But it's the same government who won't vote for child welfare credit. $30,000 that the government will put to incarcerate one individual. 30,000, that's why he's incarcerated. Now the day he gets out, there's further controls, parole, probation, and those sort of things. We know there's a direct correlation between poverty and crime. We know that. We have to recognize that, and we have to deal with it. We have to deal with that component. Say, how can, let's take a brief moment and look at what happened with the child tax credit. that it reduced poverty in poor neighborhoods. It reduced poverty. Now, that tax credit is gone. And from December to January, poverty has increased 5% in impoverished neighborhoods.
That's right.
Now, we can sit here and play this game all we want and say, oh, this and that, da, 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 da. Samuel Colt, Colt 45, not the drink, but bow, bow, bow. Can you imagine this? That Samuel Colt sold, he sold 1 million guns, handguns, before Henry Ford sold 1 million cars. We live in a violent society, but we expect these young kids to act differently from what they see every day. We're violent. We go back to 1994, the assault weapons ban. 1994 to 2004, you didn't have mass shootings. You didn't have them in this country. You didn't have mass shootings in 1994 to 2004. For 10 years, there were no mass shootings. All the mass shootings came when that assault ban had expired. No, it's a community issue. Yeah, it's all of us. We all got a role in this thing. The parents, we got a role in this thing. The government has a role in this thing. But it's not just here. It's in Washington also. When we allow poor kids to just languish. We marginalize them. We push them on the side. You don't exist. You know, if you feed kids like you don't exist, you marginalize. You don't exist. There's nothing important about you. It becomes self-fulfilling. And now they facilitate their own oppression. They become a part of their own oppression, all because of us. But we want to look at us, oh yeah, you know. See, most of us, we're not willing to get our hands dirty. I'm almost done here. We're not willing to get our hands dirty. How many of us invited one of those gangbangers to come to this meeting? How many of us? How many of us believe this meeting and going to the neighbors and say, yo man, there's a better way? No, because we put on our suit and ties. It ain't my problem, it is your problem. Because you know what? If we don't take care of them, they'll break your window. It's coming to you. The chicken will come home to roost. I'm done.
Hello, my name is Lois Williams, and I also had a grandson that got killed. My grandson was an A student at Woodson. I'm not saying that he wasn't in the gang because I don't know anything about it. I've never had a day of trouble. He's never been to jail. Never been to jail. But my idea and my question is there any way to control these kids from getting these guns? And where are they all coming from? That's my only question.
Well, one of the things we need to understand that if they are underage, it's illegal. It's illegal. They are not going and buying guns. It's illegal. And so I think we had someone. Yeah, I think we had someone back there and right there. Those two right there. Yeah, go ahead. He's gonna answer about it.
All right, I will speak and I'll try to be quick. My name's Diane Cohen. I live in Darlington, so why am I here? Well, I'm part of a group called Moms Demand Action, and the group is actually covering the whole PD. Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America is actually 6 million strong, but the PD group encompasses obviously several counties, and we just relaunched. In fact, we had a meeting last week. It's our first meeting since COVID started. We just had a few months in 2019, and then anyway, we're back in business. We are part of Everytown for Gun Safety. That's the umbrella organization. So I want to mention a couple of resources and something proactive. Someone had mentioned proactive as a principle here. We have Representative Alexander here, one of his colleagues, Representative Jermaine Johnson in the State House, is working very hard on a bill that would fund violence intervention programs, just specifically for these kind of problems. So then is like a 30% reduction is typical for the gun violence reduction for these programs. These violence intervention programs, they've, as I say, been shown to reduce gunshot wounds and deaths in neighborhoods most impacted by gun violence. So the orientation here is a community, a proactive approach. Whether it's a city or whether it's a community, it's working proactively, and there are many ways to do it. I have sent a link to city council people here that will give you an idea of some of these different programs. But that bill that I'm mentioning is 4814, House Bill 4814, Jermaine Johnson. So every Town for Gun Safety, I found out, has an amazing wealth of knowledge. They're working with cities all around the country. And the other link I sent to you both is a portal that's called citygrip.org, if anyone's interested, citygrip.org. They have many different approaches to dealing with the problem. Somebody mentioned they wanted to hear stories. I'll do one quick story. And that is, I was just looking on the portal, there's an environmental approach. And in Philadelphia, which is my hometown, in case anyone wondered, this environmental solution cleaned up corners. The Horticulture Society, the thing was funded by the city, and they had like a before and after picture of like a very bad looking lot, but then it was cleaned up. It was very, very nice, and that has made people feel safer, and they've seen somewhere like a 25 to 30% reduction. So they're seeing some reduction in crime, but that's just to add color. But a lot of these are, things to help the individuals. So I just want to say, Moms Demand Action, we support you. We want to be part of the solution.
Wait just a minute. He wanted to respond to the
Yes, ma'am. You asked how can we help keep the guns out of the kids' hands? A lot of that falls on us. And when I mean us, I don't mean us as the police. I mean me as a gun owner and other people as gun owners. Day in, day out with the Florence Police Department, you would not believe how many reports we have, and Captain Matt can attest to this, of guns stolen from cars, vehicles, unlocked vehicles, which blows my mind. I don't understand that, but we as a society, we can talk about guns, pros, cons, everything else. I don't think that's the platform for this, but as gun owners, as weapons owners, we have to be more responsible. Not only with the ownership, but also teaching children about it. Going back, think back when you were young. When your parents, if your parents had that one room that you could not go into, right? That door was locked. What's the one thing you wanted to do? The only thing all day long that you wanted to do? Go in that room, right? So the gun that sits in the closet, the gun that sits in the dresser drawer, that mom and dad say, you don't ever touch this whatsoever. What's that child going to want to do? Proper education of gun safety is imperative if you're going to be a gun owner. That's.
Good evening. My name is Fanika George DeWitt, and I'm what I call a village child. People that see my Facebook, I'm always saying something about the village that raised me. I see plenty of people from my village, and I'm one that is still working action. I'm only 46 years old, I got 9 kids. In my mama's house, it was old school. In my house, it is still old school. I have 4 girls that are grown and gone. Thank God no babies before they got out of high school. I had 2 before I came out of high school. But I did not fault my mother for that. That was on me. Some of the rules, like the young lady said, the parents get in trouble. Girlfriend, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna give you my testimony. I got a tie this stick with DSS because I let them know you're not gonna change how I raise my kids. My oldest daughter is a graduate of Coastal Carolina University, raised old school. She only gave me 1.5 problems from 0 to 18. 1.5. My second child, graduate of South Carolina State got bold in front of Subpoena. I politely punched her, knocked her out, and when she came 2 minutes later, he told her, she said, lock her up. He said, no, I need to lock you up for disorderly conduct and disrespecting your mother. I even went to DJJ downtown here in Florence. You know what the lady tells me? Bring the 2 children up here and let me interview them. She sat there and interviewed my daughters. My kids, like I said, they raised right. They know how to sit in front of you, talk very polite, and do what they had to do. My thing is this, that fear factor, I don't have that. Because I live on one of the most dangerous streets in North Florence. I allow the police to sit their trucks and stuff in my yard and watch houses that they need to bust for drugs, guns, and everything else. And when they want to know who did what, this, that, and the other, I'm not scared to tell you, yeah, call the police on you because first of all, at that time, my mother was living with me. You would never disrespect my mama in front of me. And when they shut that house down, we were able to get that house taken down. Our street hardly has any crime on it. And I'm proud to live there. I have no problems trying to help with different things going on. I still try to help kids in my neighborhood. I subbed in schools, I'm a nurse, but I'm not working right now because I had to have radiation and stuff like that. But my thing is this. Officers, when we grew up, they came in our neighborhood. I'm proud that you moved up, but I also hate that you moved up because you were present in our neighborhood. We knew y'all by name. We knew him. It ain't a sense of they knocking on your door to get you in trouble. The police that grew up with us, we knew all of us by name. They knew our mamas. They checked on us at the school. It didn't matter. The people that own the businesses, I don't care if it's white, black, Puerto Rican, he can't take. They let us come in store. Not looking at us like we're going to steal something. They knew your family. They helped everybody. Miss Peggy Key, I don't know if anybody knows.
Because there are a lot of people who want to say something, so please, nothing long and drawn out.
Well, I am ready to get to work. I did have a question for you, and perhaps we can answer it later. I would be interested in hearing what you think we should do about the children. How would you want it approached when the children come to you? So I'd like to hear your answer on that. And I want to work with you. And I would like to know how many people are interested in the mentoring program. Just hold your hand. I just want to see for myself. Who would like to be involved in the mentoring program? Right. That's right. Hold on. Yeah.
We've got this, and it says mentors. Mentors. How you find it?
Could you just pass it around? Please, could you pass it around?
Mentors.
That's all. I'm not an answer. You don't got to go up. Thank you.
My name is Rose Madison. I'm a teacher at Willis. I'm sorry about it. I'm sorry. Because that was such a terrible thing. And you grieved with me. You should come and talk with children. Adults might always tell them what to do. You have to listen. You have to listen to them, but you don't come. When there is a child in need, you don't come. Unless there is an avenue where you, as adults who say you care about the children in our community, you will come to these high schools and these middle schools and these elementary schools, and you will befriend a child. That's what they need to notice this. Young men and young women who play sports, they don't get into trouble. It's rare, because they have something to do. But there is absolutely nothing for our young people to do in Florence. Nothing. So I don't have an avenue in order to be able to do other things and meet people who care
our solutions as simple as befriending a child. Thank you.
At the end of your statement, you can either give a question to one of the panelists or give us a solution. And I think that's going to be very fair. I'm going to give this shot. I'm going to call this out for Hi, y'all. I can see everybody. My name is Sean Ellerby. I currently run a nonprofit organization called G-Lab Legacy that helps young gentlemen learn to build legacy with work with young men. My name is Sean Ellerby. I also run a nonprofit organization called G-Lab Legacies. It's gentlemen learning to build legacies. We have adolescent teenagers that kind of start from what she said. What's the alternative? We talk about how we heard gun violence. What things do we have in place for children to do, especially during the afternoon after 5 o'clock? A lot. Now, I also serve on FRBL, which we serve over 400 kids with basketball this summer. But it's a different program we have to put in place. Solutions that I think can happen. Do we have anything to kind of put people to work? Like teenagers, a job program. We had JTPA back in the day, but something that puts job in the hands of teenagers that they don't have anything to do, there's nothing to do but get in trouble, turn to the wrong places. Another thing that I think we can incorporate in the high school is have a different kind of form of conflict resolution. A lot of times they get the gun violence, they know how to simply resolve conflict because somebody bumped into them or this, that, and other, how to be respectful and things like that. I think we see a lot of things in conflict resolution. We can de-escalate a lot of the gun violence because they're not thinking to kill somebody, they're thinking I'm a respectful man as a person or a brother or whatever the case may be. Another thing, and I know it may be a little different, but if people have a love for guns, do we have anything as far as teens and teaching them how to shoot with respect and properly care for guns? Because I think if they learn that part, again, learn conflict resolution, that will inherently encourage gun violence. I think that's one of the things that happen now. We meet every Monday from 5:30 to 7. Y'all can come and give any ideas, solutions. We always look for things, we look at the partner group, we look to do anything possible to help advance these young men. And our aim is to create leaders, so we have them in this room. And a lot of times we're the older group talking. Who's younger talking to them, but they're not going to listen to somebody who's older than them. They need somebody 5 to 7 years ago who they can relate to. A lot of times they don't have anybody they can relate to, so therefore they're not talking. They want to do something else and keep the secrets from their parents. So you can have great parents where they go, like you say, get to school, get with the peers and the peer pressure, and none of that stuff matters. They're going to do what the friends say. So if you teach them how to avoid peer pressure, how to think for themselves, how to do certain things on the phone, I think that'll curb a lot of that gun violence, but we don't take a lot of time in doing that. And two, the discipline of the children is not necessarily saying physical punishment, but learning what motivates them. Use that to help them do other things and also take some things away so they can understand they can be taken away. But those are my solutions, or suggestions and solutions that I'm willing to talk to, partner with anybody on things that we've done or things that we can do in the future to help build from.
Let me say one thing, and while you go to the people that you're about to, we've got some things that we have been working on, and there are papers that we can sign up. Let me tell you one of them. City Council has voted that we put $6 million to the community. Now that $6 million will fall on the next budget cycle. Yes, it will, because we couldn't take it and stuff was already budgeted for it, but we will do that. The other thing that goes to is the CDC. The CDC is planning to take these boys and girls off of the street, train them, help them to build some of the houses that we're planning on taking down. There is a lot. So City Council, that's present, can you please stand? We've got some that came. We invited them, and I thank each one of you, George and Brian Braddock. We thank you for coming. We also, this summer, we've partnered with county and we mingle, and we're going to do a park tour, a summer music festival park tour, because we're going to come to your community. And we are hoping that mentors and vendors, we will come in and love on the community. We need you all to sign up. We need donations. We need whatever help that you all can give us we need that. And so I don't want anybody to leave, because I know some of our statements are kind of lengthy. I want to make sure we got up here North Florence, Northwest, Levy Park, and what's the other one? Jones Park. If you want to work on any of those in helping us to plan those, Nicole is somewhere. Where Nicole's here? Oh, well, okay. But anyway, you can sign up any of those things and work with us this summer. I just wanted to make sure I put that out. I'm sorry. And then he was trying to... He has a question.
Before we get that part, one thing I want to add on, which I think we got to, every time we get a low-hanging fruit, I want to make sure we catch it. He said he has a mentoring group who meets every Monday on Olive Jones Park from 5:30 to 7. That's the solution. All right. Before
I actually have a statement. All right, so starting off with a statement, again, Christopher McCray. A lot of the things that have been mentioned tonight are absolutely necessary, but I would caution that we don't underestimate the complexity of trying to bring all of that under one umbrella. Secondarily, I see a lot of people in here from the Mayor's Youth Initiative. A lot of things that have been mentioned tonight are already in the works. So for my council people, how does this attach to the Mayor's Youth Initiative? Because one of the things I've noticed in our community is we have a lot of little pods trying to accomplish the same thing. But if we put that same energy and effort behind that one initiative, I think that is where we should possibly focus. So how does this tie into the Mayor's Youth Initiative, if it does at all?
Thanks, sir.
And that's the question. How does this effort tie into the Mayor's Youth Initiative, if it does at all? Because I may be mistaken.
We can't answer that. We can't, because we're not knowledgeable of that any initiative.
My name is Pastor Joe McGowan, Senior Pentecostal Temple Church, East Florence. I want to, my question is the same as my brother's, because I noticed there doesn't seem to be, will we show you what we're preaching? It doesn't seem to be a centralized place for all of these activities that are going on, so we have a whole community that seems to be at one meeting here, another meeting here. I go to 3 or 4 different meetings, and no one seems to be enlightened about what someone else is doing. So it doesn't seem wise to recreate the wheel if we all have the same agenda to see. And I believe that everybody here wants to see Florence flourish and wants to see our young people flourish. And I noticed that also too, my next question was, is there a certified neighborhood watch for these particular areas? I know that where our church is, we've made a concerted effort to buy up some of the boarded up houses, to clean up the area, to put up lights, do whatever we can do on our part. But it's kind of like, sometimes it's kind of like this. I like Westerns. And every now and then you'll run into a Western where an individual, the whole town is scared of just a few people. And if they were all simply get together, they'd be able to make some major adjustments in a short period of time. But however, if we're divided and we have these different entities that are trying to do the same thing, I think it's somewhat counterproductive. And I'd like to know, is there any way for all of this to come together so that we can see some real change take place?
I would want to start answering that question. To the best of my knowledge, I don't know another will. Yes, Mama was perfect where she did community together. All right. If it's a group of 3 or 4 people, I don't know anything about it. Right. But to the best of my knowledge, we try to get the community involved. I don't know community, no big meeting, no little meeting. I want to hear the people's concerns.
So council doesn't know anything about the mayor's initiative?
I have no idea.
Okay, all right, I'm just asking a question.
Yeah, can you briefly describe it?
I would be remiss to describe her initiative.
My name is Jim Bailey. I'm here in Florence, and I'm East Florence, part of the Temple. I am more that Mayor's Initiative. We just had a meeting today, and they're talking about a lot of things we're talking about here. I've always had since I've been in Florence, question is, from my understanding, I'm gonna ask my friend captain up there, and both the captains, they know. I've always heard it said that a lot of these things is happening because of retaliation. I've heard it a lot of times, it's retaliation. Somebody goes to jail, they come back and look for the person that put them in jail, whatever it was. Retaliation. My question is, when are we gonna stop this revolving door? Where they go in, come back out. Go in, come back out. Now I know the police might not have all the answers. I think the solicitors here may have some of the answers. But somebody gotta tell me why that you go to jail for shooting somebody and you come and get out of jail and come back and shoot somebody again. That makes no sense to me. And if you don't shoot them, you get this drive-by, you get these random shootings and stuff. When are we gonna stop this? This one I wanna know what the solution is for that. Because right now, it's just getting ridiculous. It's just getting ridiculous. Can I say that, y'all? It's ridiculous. And that's what I believe we're here for. That's what we're here for. But from my understanding, and I've asked the police officers, if I'm wrong, y'all tell me. I don't mind being wrong, but I believe, like Charles Barkley, I'm right this time. This happens a lot of times because of retaliation. People come back and then innocent people get shot. People get shot that don't even should be shot. I watched the other day when they said the young man went to school, his grandfather going to jail, he could barely walk because he's a 6-year-old going to first grade and he takes a gun to school. How does he get a gun to take to school? I don't understand that. When you get a gun faster than you can get a burger, something's wrong with that, y'all. Something's wrong with it. When you get a gun, you get it faster than a hamburger, something's wrong with that. The solution, I'm asking for a solution now. How do we do this? We need some solution. That's one thing. The question is, how do we stop the revolving door? You put them in jail, they go to court, they come back out again. How do we stop this? How do we stop this?
So I'm not all that educated on our correction system, but being in it for 24 years, that's only about half the time that Captain Mac's been in it. Yes, I went there. But what's that?
Address the fact that people go to shoot up something and they get out of the bond, it's not that easy.
Yes. So it's a big issue. It's a broad issue. So we can talk about it just like Mr. G said. You know, you go to prison, you go to jail. When you come out, you're a felon. You're tagged, right? When you step up to try to get a job, you got to put on that resume. Yeah, I did A, B, and C, right? So, in my opinion, there's potentially two solutions. You know, one in the correctional system. Has anyone here tried to get any work done on their house lately? How many phone calls did you have to make to try to get a contract? You can't count that high. How many people do we have in correctional institutions that were probably incredible carpenters? They were probably incredible concrete people, whatever the trade it is, and make great money while doing it if they do a good job. Why can't we train people in prison? And maybe they do, right? And on top of that, why as a society can we not give people a second chance? Because God knows I've messed up, right? Why can't we get over our ego sometimes and give someone a chance, right? Throw them a bone. Now, as Sister Clemens said, when it comes to active crime and the people that we arrest and we get bond, you know, our prisons, our correctional institutions, our county jails are only so big. They're only so big. They can only hold so many people. You know, as attorney, and you know, Councilman McCall especially knows this as attorney. You know, when it comes to bond, we want to keep the most dangerous people in there, right? So if you shoot at me and miss me, you just are charged with attempted murder. It's just that you were a bad shot that day. Your intent was to kill me. But if you get lucky and just happen to hit me, now you catch a murder charge. So you, as a murderer, will most likely be revoked bond and not be able not be able to come back in society until your adjudication process, right? But the attempted murder person, most likely at some point is going to get abolished because the jails are only so big. Does that make sense? Did I touch on that some for you?
I think a part of your question, Pastor Beatty, a part of your question was what can we do? What's a part of the solution? I think a part of the solution is community collaboration with the entities within our communities so that we can have them well informed, so that we can address the issues. A part of our downfall, a part of the downfall of this plight is that we don't govern and supervise our communities like we used to. To be very frank, things go on in our communities. There used to be phone calls made. There were people held accountable. Community accountability is a huge part of this. That's why I said y'all not really ready for this song. Because for real, you're gonna are you willing to make the sacrifice to become a cell operative within the community? To share information when you know that there's imminent or potential danger? We know about snitches and ditches and all of that nonsense. At some point, we got to determine what is the important factor. Are we going to protect our youth and our communities, or are we just going to allow these things to continue to move on? We need cells in the community. We need groups of people who have made up their minds that I'm going to do this for the greater good of my community. It's a sacrifice, family. And people are going to find out who you are. You're going to subject yourself to some things. But guess what? If you don't do it, you're subjected also. We have to make up our mind what's important. What's really important? Are you really willing to become a part of a network that works with these gentlemen, that informs these gentlemen about the activity that's going? You don't have to put your name out there, brandish, I did it and I said it. We know the potential ramifications of that. We're asking for some persons to do some clandestine activity and investigate in your community, find out the information, share it with the proper authorities. We don't need any vigilantes. You don't need to go out and try and get vengeance on your own. You don't have to do anything by yourself. You have entities within your community that are willing to help. But the question is, are you willing to work with them? Oh no, I ain't gonna be no snitch. Well, you gonna get what you get. If you keep allowing this to continue to be as is, it's gonna be as is. We're the ones who can change it. The young lady that was sitting here, the young lady that just left, they said, I've only heard 2 people say, I'm willing. Thank you too, ma'am. You did say I'm willing to help. I heard 3 people say tonight what I'm willing to do. Okay, let's get the paperwork going, get the emails, get the phone numbers, and let's get the crack. We need to start getting work done. I'm tired of coming to these little meetings and leaving with nothing said, everything said, but nothing done. So let's get something done. Please sign the paper tonight. Please put your email, get the papers going, please. Get numbers, get emails. We gotta stop sitting back waiting for something to happen and make something happen.
One thing. Yep, Pastor, I will say this. I think with those phone numbers, what I anticipate us doing, the lowest hanging fruit, what we can do is exactly what Pastor Brown said. Right? It's getting involved. And we have 36 neighborhood watch groups. 36 neighborhood watch groups. And participation is low. You go to them, it's only 2 or 3 people. Right? And at those meetings, you have officers there, right? So if you have a problem in your community, the neighborhood watch meetings are primarily for that. If you need more police patrol, more police patrol in the area, the neighborhood watch is for that. If you see someone doing something, say something first, but also the neighborhood watch meetings are for that. For years, I knew nothing about it. Nothing about it. But there are 36 active chapters. If you put your name down on the list today, I'm going to make sure you get that, the list, so you can. The low-hanging fruit is please mentor a child, and definitely also let's start joining these neighborhood watch groups.
I don't really have a question, but I live in a neighborhood, and about 2 weeks ago, I experienced something with my neighbors, and I called it in, and a dispatcher walked me through every single thing until the police officers arrived and took care of it. It was really done well in my neighborhood. And I want to become a part of Town Watch. I have been a member and I know the requirements. I need to be active in the neighborhood because that is the only way that we can take care of our young people. Thank you.
Not just like respond to the gentleman in the orange. And for some of you that might not know, we do have Neighborhood Watch in Florence. I'm president of the William Heights community. We have worked with the police department and with the city, and I can say to you that they do respond. And we have worked well together. We had crime in our neighborhood where people were breaking in homes, cars. So that do exist in Florence. We do have Neighborhood Watch. Probably what we need is more participation. Now, I came here tonight to hear some solution because I know what the problem is. And I think everybody in here know what the problem is. What we need is what the city is going to do, what the county is going to do. What solutions do you have? I came here to hear from you all because all the stuff that's out there, trust me, I know about it. I have worked in the trenches. So that's what I want to know. What does the city plan to do to help us? Because they have the people that called and reported things. And some of the answers are, well, we have to work on it to build a case. I understand that. But what I want to know tonight is what solutions does the city have, if any? Because after all, we're not the experts. You know, if we were the ones to solve the problem, then we wouldn't need you. But hopefully, you and the community working together can come up with some solutions. I know what the problem is. I want to know how you plan to handle it, what you can tell me to do to help you. Because as I said, I'm president of my community.
I'm sorry, Mayor. I interrupted. What's the problem that you see?
What's the problem that I see? It's crime. The only thing you have to do is turn on the radio. There's violence. There's shooting. And you know something? There's something that's causing that.
There's cause and, right, excuse me. There's cause and effect. And I think way too often we look at the effect and not the cause.
I've looked at all of it, sir.
I'm not saying that you did.
I just want to get it straight. I've looked at all of it. Everybody in here know that there's shooting going on. We all know this. We know the problem. What are you going to do to help me solve the problem? And as I stated, I had a terrible problem in my neighborhood. This police department right here work with us. Now our community is relatively safe. So I know it can be done. We just have to come up with solutions, and you all have to give us some directions.
One of the things I think that we need to hear that she said, we work with the police. That's one of the solutions. Because too often we are hearing that the police are not getting the help that they need to actually solve. You were willing to say what the problem is. There are too many communities saying, I don't want nothing to do with that. I didn't see nothing. I don't know nothing. So this one won't come back there. This mic won't come back there.
It don't take a second. I got a friend here. My brother Mike Williams. Mike, I don't want to call you out. But I have to, because I'm trying to make a point here. How much crime is in your neighborhood? How much crime is there in your neighborhood?
Well, it's not in my neighborhood, per se, it's neighborhood next door to mine.
Right.
With youth and the crime is coming in our neighborhood and the crime at night. Per se, in my neighborhood.
So it comes to your neighborhood.
But
Yeah, so everybody, and
Right.
we have neighborhood watch that, we have a meeting once a month. Like, we get officers come by and we talk, we know what's going on in what areas, so our neighbors, they got from one another in. We got a neighborhood website, every time something happens, we put it on the website, what's going on in what street, so everybody in the community be aware. If somebody come around with a car that keep riding by the neighborhood back and forth, they get the tag number, and they say, who's this car belong to? So that's how we do our community.
Mike, I kind of expected that answer from you. You live in a pretty good neighborhood.
Yeah, I didn't know me.
You live in a pretty well-to-do neighborhood.
Yeah.
But so that crime is coming outside of your neighborhood, coming into your neighborhood.
Right.
And they're probably coming to, a lot of times crime happens when people are going, they're looking for more. People who have more than them.
Yeah.
You know, sir, you said, what can we do about, and I want to respond, you said, what can we do about this revolving jail? Recidivism there's nothing we can do about it until we get to the root of the problem. And social scientists have been studying this for years and years and years, and they're no closer today than they were 100 years ago. Same issues.
A show of hands, this mic can't come back there, it'll go out. But a show of hands, if we, because a lot of times we get a lot of people complaining about y'all need to do something, y'all need to do something. As soon as we put something like a curfew, or we put safe zones around the parks, we then have to fight most of the people in the community. The problem is we want things fixed, but we don't really want the solutions. Because the solutions are we are going to have to give tough love in these types of situations. Your mama gave you tough love when you got out of line. And we don't want to give tough love to some of these kids, and then when we do, we want to fight and protect them. I can't come back there, you got to speak up. Yeah.
My name is Deshonda, and I want to speak from experience. And as I've grown in the neighborhood and lived in this neighborhood, and for myself, I didn't know where my child was. As a parent, we let these kids do and roam however they like, and half the time kids having kids as myself. And I wasn't there when I should have been a lot of times. I'm only speaking for myself. We act like the kids, we portray this life, we show them how to live this life. We did it as a whole, and everybody knows. So now it's how to fix it. We did it, we showed them the best. We showed them how to do the worldly things the best. Because when we was out there, we did it the best. And we was in those streets, and we was taught at home, a lot of stuff is at home. Not everybody, because a lot of stuff they leave home, they learn. But only for myself, I can only say, I did not know where my 15-year-old child was a lot of times. And we're going, and Shaquez, this is my nephew. Me and his mom are really good friends, that's my sister. He knows just like I know. We was in these streets doing stuff, those kids watched us. We didn't teach moral, love, compassion. And as a whole generation, now this is what we're dealing with. This is the aftermath. And they really doing it way worse than we are. They really like just killing each other. And I really want to say that, but it starts at home. And parents got to start knowing. A lot of times parents are doing what they could do when kids go astray. Not everyone, but parents need to start knowing where 14, 15, 16-year-old kids are. I have never heard of a parent being on a robbery, a home invasion, or a murder. We don't know where those kids are, and as a whole community, we should not be able to go and roam and gather up at so-and-so house with parents, people just walking in and kids in their house. That's what's going on. And parents know what's going on in their house first. Shaquez can tell you, my child, he's incarcerated to this day for stuff he did as a juvenile. But I'm glad to say, I'm proud to say that he has gotten it together. And thank God it took 2 times, he's not dead. And he didn't kill nobody's child. But I will say this, as a whole community, we got to start chastising these kids and just stepping in when we see them doing stuff. Just don't let them roam because it's your child not doing it. And they need places to go.
Let me just say that, because I don't want to cut. LaShonda, she wanted to do, for the summer, the police academy, she wants to do a summer camp, but she needed help. She said that by the time, on Dr. Ala Jones' part, by the time the kids in the community try to get into those programs, the people from the outside have already taken up the space. She and a group of people want to see if we could get help to rent out the police cabin so that they could teach the kids in the community how to fish, teach them how to cook, teach them how to sew. So I wanted to throw that out there because that's something that if you could help her, please do. That's something that the community wants to do. We're not going to be able to let everybody, we're going to take about 2 more and then we've got to wrap it up with some to-do list. So somebody who has not spoken. Okay.
Good evening. Good evening.
We're trying to keep it in 1 minute. We're trying to wrap it up.
My friend Diane from Moms Demand Action, she left. But I don't believe in repeating the wheel. If you go to Moms Demand Action or every town for gun safety, they have a plan and they have statistics for every state updated from 2021. One I will read you because somebody asked. In South Carolina, the rate of gun deaths increased 48% from 2011 to 2020. So it is
Can we keep all noise out? We can't hear.
48% gun deaths decreased in the last 10 years. Moms Demand Action also, and I have already sent this to the mayor, they have a plan, and it's about prevention. As the police officer said, police, they're react. They're interventionists. We need to prevent gun violence. And on Moms Demand Action, they say 5 ways to enhance the gun violence prevention strategy in your city. I won't go and say what the 5 are because that would take too much time. But number 1 is to promote, pass, and implement common sense gun laws at every level of government.
Okay, y'all, wait a minute.
I want to say this because I am very, very, very frustrated right now. I left Florence in 1998. I came back 2021. I'm frustrated because I'm hearing about all these organizations, all these folks that got things going on, but I'm trying to figure out why nothing's being done. Why is it that we're just now why is it just now that we just got the message that there's a problem with gun violence in Florence? Now, before I left here, I was given a message. I'm not going to say I'm devil's advocate, I'm God's messenger. And at that time, I was saying to the Florence community before I left in 1998, we had best be careful, black folks, because and you know what? The next thing of it is you all are disrespectful. That's why we never get anything done because we don't know our place and time, when to be quiet, when to speak, and when we need to do what we need to do. That's why we can't get organized and do anything, folks. The breakdown is from us in our own community. We are failing our kids. We are failing in the community. Because we don't take up and do what we should do and what we have to do. Half the people have left and gone. But I'm saying we don't pay attention to the school system. We don't pay attention that a lot of the kids that are out here on the street have been put out of school, and if they can't get a job, and they can't do anything, they're out there, they start selling drugs, and they start getting guns. Nobody thinks that when they get put out, we should have by now had a black charter school, because the primarily of all the kids that get put out in this spell are black kids. The shooting is going on with who? Basically black males. And guess what? Most of them are under the age of 21, 14, 15, 16, getting killed, not in school. So we don't want to look at the elephant in the room. We want to look at all kinds of other mess. That's why we can't get anything done. Sometimes they say, the old people say, you need to go back to your old landmark. I know about the programs that work. Darren Yarborough is gone, but he's a product of the JTPA program, Police Explorer program. Mr. George, you remember at the Florence Boys and Girls Club, the Boys Club, at night we had programs on the weekend to keep the kids off the street from ages 14 to 21. Well, nobody else is doing anything now. Everybody got a 501c. I got a non-profit. But what are you doing with the non-profit? We got civic organizations. Y'all, I come back here, y'all not doing anything. Everybody's talking. Everybody's status quo. It's time for us to break it down and do what we need to do. I didn't live in public housing, but when I was here, I did join the group that they had. And you know what? The chief of police done, Porter and Mumford, they had organizations where every Friday and Saturday night, we got out and marched in these neighborhoods and ran the drug dealers out. See, we don't do anything for the community anymore, but we want to say we have a 501c3. A 501c3 with no money for programs to help kids ain't no good. So that's our thing of it is we always talking about what we got, but we ain't doing nothing with it. And if the city council, the county and all of them got all of this fund, that $6 million, well, I say we need at least $1 million for us to set up programs so our kids can be someplace and we can help them with the job. And I don't mind, I can run the program, that ain't no problem. But we need to also remember this. Our kids that are economically disadvantaged and single parents need our help. And back in the day, we helped those people. But now we done got so high to did it, we done moved to the suburbs and forgot about our neighborhoods. That's another part of the problem. Now, I'm not going to talk and say no more, but I'm saying this, that it's time for us, I ain't even asking nobody to help me with nothing, because you know what? God is my help. Jesus didn't have but 12 disciples. He didn't call 252,000 people. But we're going to have a bigger problem if we don't get on top of the school board, because y'all, from August to December of this past year, they had sent over 5,000 African American kids to the middle and high school to the office for disciplinary action. That's serious. They're going to be put out of school, and when they put them out, where they going to be? On the streets, more drugs, more guns. So if you think it's bad now, I'm telling you, if you don't get up and start doing something, it's going to be 10 times worse.
I'll be very brief. My name is Eric Robinson. I'm the principal of Wilson High School. I'm glad to see that we're all here under one roof talking about this problem, because a lot of times I'm the one who have to make the phone calls to these parents, and it is very hard. I've had to do this too many times in the past 10 years since I've been at Wilson High School. I'm glad we're all here together. I don't have all the solutions to everything. I'm here to listen. But I do have a simple suggestion for anybody in here. Everybody, we all know that mentoring is a very important role in this problem. The doors of Wilson High School is open to anyone who's going to come in and uplift my kings and queens. If you're going to come in and uplift my students, you are more than welcome to come in and mentor them. We need that. From 8 a.m. to 8:30 in the morning, that's where they are. I got 1,200 of them sitting there for you. From 12 p.m. to 2 p.m., I got 1,200 more. So I'm giving you the venue. All you have to do is come. All I need for you to do is to come out there and help me mentor. We got the 3 R's now. We're going to get the reading, writing, and arithmetic for. I need you to help come out there and mentor them. These kids, I don't want everybody to think that we have these terrible kids, because all I hear about, yeah, they do bad things, but we love them. We love them. 3 words that I tell these kids that break them out all the time. I love you. And that's all I need to hear. But you, I'm giving you the avenue right now. Anytime, any place you want to come to Wilson High School, please do.
violence awareness, of course, I initially called Mr. Brownlee after learning of the death of Miss McFadden. And, you know, that touches home with me. And I think a lot of the issues here are discussed, and I think some people touched on it, that a lot of issues start at home. And if my mom was alive today, she would say, charity starts at home. I have 2 seniors in high school. Mr. Robinson knows both of them. He knows my son very well. And I can tell you, it's been hard raising 2 teenagers, and black teenagers at that, especially my son. He's very vocal, he's very persistent. You know, he's one of those children that was in the office a lot, you know, going through elementary to high school. Mr. Robinson can tell you that in the last 2 years, we haven't really been on him. He's one of the ones that wanted to drop out of high school. One just didn't care anymore because he said it was challenging. There was a lot of social challenges going on at school. One of the things that I teach my children, and I think as parents and as you know the African American community, we need to address the issue that our kids have no respect for law enforcement. So if they don't have respect for their parents and they don't have respect for law enforcement, then oftentimes these are the same kids that are in households of parents that don't have respect for law enforcement. You're just going to see a vicious cycle because the parents don't care, the kids are not going to care. And so one of the suggestions or a question, this is my first time at one of these meetings, so I don't know if it's ever been suggested before or talked about before, but I remember, you know, years back where communities would do gun drop-off, anonymous gun drop-offs in the community, and I was wondering if that's something that we could do as a community, have gun drop-offs where there's no, you know, choice, you know.
Is that something possible? Gun drop-off.
Yes, I'm thinking that that's something we could.
Solicitor says yes.
Yes, that's something the feds will work with.
The feds will. Now, what we want to do, y'all, because we've gone pretty long, and we thank you for your patience. And one of the things that, you know, I do want to say, y'all, when we get together like this, it is never an easy thing. But I want all of you to know that we always let everybody know we invite everybody. No one is ever excluded. Because in order for us to do these things, we have to come together. Oftentimes we'll have somebody to come up here and they'll have at it and then hit the door, not even waiting to hear a solution. So my answer is, do we really want to solve a problem, or do we really just want to make a noise? Because the truth of the matter is, city council, police, all of us are working constantly. And I got to be honest with you. I'm offended when you're going to tell me that we're not doing what we're doing. We wake up with this thing every morning. I go down on my knees asking what I can do for the city. That is nothing to play with because lives are at stake. So when we come together, put your personal agenda aside and let's come together and work. Some people got up, said something, asked a question about some initiative and didn't even wait for an answer because we came for the wrong reason. I'm sorry, I got to keep it real. Now, if we're going to come up with a solution, let's come up with a solution. This is no time to point fingers and try to put nobody down. Anytime I'm doing something, if you're coming to put people down, don't come. Don't come, because we're looking for a solution to a dying community. Now, we've got three elected officials, three people that I can't remember the name, so he's got to speak. Go ahead and do that.
Hey, I'm Neil Zimmerman, and I think who said it best was, I believe it was 5 different club kids who've already talked this evening with ideas of what can go on. To me, what everybody did say in looking at what's needed, mentors, programs, activities. I heard some lady just get done talking about our nighttime program that we did a few years ago. Officer Mac, the Mayor's Coalition, 12, 14 years ago when the same issue came up, and we tried to just give more activities to kids. To me, that is the answer with good mentors. More activities for them. Mr. Robertson over at Wilson. I mean, we hear it from our Wilson kids and our West Florence kids. There needs to be something for us to do. And I would just put this little tidbit in your ear. It's not always about this big impactful program that kids have learned new skills. A lot of it is a kid finding a mentor that they trust, that they can go talk to when they have a challenge. So sometimes shooting a game of pool or shooting basketball to a kid is just as important as learning a skill that they can use later in life, because it's going to get them to that skill. But, anybody who we have a lot of help from Boys and Girls Club throughout the community. A lot of folks support us. There just needs to be more things, to me, for kids to do that have mentors available to those kids. Daily programs. I know, Sean, we've talked for years. You do your program about 1 day a week, and that's great. What me and him have talked about is how do we get those kids to doing something else 4 more days a week. So just kind of keep it in the back of your mind. It's not a one-time shot, guys. It's over and over and over. You got to be in it for the long haul.
Good evening, everybody. I just wanted to mention that this weekend, on September the 26th, I am having a teen summit. This is something that I've put on, well, oh Lord, February 26th. It's moving ahead. This Saturday at Wilson. Thanks to Dr. Robinson for always, for the past 3 or 4 years, he's let me use Wilson for this youth symposium or this teen summit. So it was one way when I saw gun violence being pretty much an epidemic here in the city, I said, hey, we got to do something. Let's talk to them. We got to stop talking so much and let these kids tell us how do we communicate with them, what they want to see, and how they want it done. Because we often don't have all the problems. So this weekend at Wilson, 10 to 2, we'll be there. Come out and let those kids see your faces. All right.
Thank you. I didn't come to politics. I came to tell about a problem I see in our community. The school district has put out roughly 5,000 black students in Florence District 1 for a simple major in all areas. I posted on Facebook and somebody responded back, they needed to put them out there and fight, but they had 5,000 fights in Florence. It's a problem when we allow the administration over our schools to come up with a zero tolerance. That's a problem. And what we're going to do is sit at home and do nothing about our kids being handled and treated under these conditions. That's a problem. That's the problem, because if you don't get an education, you go to the streets. That's where the problem goes. Deal with the facts of who is affecting our children the most. Public education. They are controlling their future. They are controlling their goals. And unless we get people to do something about it, they're going to run us straight to the penitentiary. My name is James Kennedy, and that's what I came to say.
LaShonda Lee Smith-Jackson here, and I'm all about solutions. And I heard about the neighborhood watch. We're just developing a neighborhood watch where I am, and we're electronic. gotta go to technology where things are happening quick. We're able, if somebody sends something and say, hey, there's somebody walking through the neighborhood, there's somebody right then and there to go look out their door and do something about it. And that's what we need to go back to. We need to get to technology to save our neighborhoods. Also, too, Dr. Robinson, I'm going to come because I write curriculums for at-risk students, and I just wrote one called FARS, and that's for at-risk students. And I do that because even with recidivism, the problem with recidivism is we have to replace those antisocial beliefs and hate behaviors with pro-social beliefs and behaviors. And if we do that, then that will cut down on our kids going to jail. And I write programs like that, effective communication, self-love, self-respect, those kind of things that we need to put in our kids. Now, we have these things about gun violence, but I don't see nobody bringing their kids in here so that these kids can hear it. My son is always with me and would have been with me today, but he works at Chick-fil-A, 16 years old. He would have been here today listening to this. And he's an idea that don't really need it, but that's not the point. If we're going to try to help the kids, bring the kids in the room where they need to hear it. Thank y'all.
So y'all, I know y'all, we got a lot of people that want to say something, but we really have run over time. Natasha has a program also that helps kids from getting from problem students to get them into college. Children that are having difficulty with learning. So we've got a wealth of resources that's in this room. We've got to just come together. And y'all, this first meeting, I'm hoping that we can put these sign-in sheets together so that we can redirect and connect, and you all just say, hey, I want to do this, I'm doing this, and you all get together. We just really want it to be a networking tool, okay? So we thank you all for coming. We thank the panelists. Y'all didn't really get a chance to say much, right? But we thank each and every one of you. May the peace of God and his sweet communion rest, rule, and abide with each and every one of you. Amen.